Handbags are the feature of this Sewing with Nancy mini-series, with the common denominator being easy. In this third episode of 12 Easy Sew Bags, you'll learn to create the final 4 options. The collection includes classic shapes and styles that can go with pretty much anything from jeans to business wear. They're simple, stylish, versatile pieces. Let's begin with an adjustable strap option. You might like a shoulder bag or, during other times, a shorter strap. Both options are available on one easy bag with easy-to-sew fabric strap slides. It's a clever way to personalize a bag. 12 Easy Sew Bags, that's what's coming up next on Sewing with Nancy.
Sewing with Nancy, TV's longest-airing sewing and quilting program with Nancy Zieman, is made possible by Baby Lock, a complete line of sewing, quilting, and embroidery machines and sergers. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing. Madeira, specializing in embroidery, quilting, and special effect threads, because creativity is never black and white. Koala Sewing Cabinets, hand-built in the USA by American craftsmen, customized for you. Clover, makers of sewing, knitting, quilting, and embroidery products for over 25 years. Experience the Clover difference. Amazing designs and Class A needles.
If you were able to join us for the first two programs of this 3-part series, you know that you can work with any bag pattern or template, tote pattern to make the bags personalized. And that's the same case with the Adjust-A-Strap, using fabric slides to change the length of the strap. To work with this, the key will be the interfacing that you'll use for the strap itself. And we've used perforated interfacing made for straps. It comes in 2 widths, the narrow 5/8 of an inch width or the 1 inch width. In each case, you're going to cut 2 lengths that are 36 inches. And then you'll have a leftover piece of the fusible interfacing that you're going to use for the slide portion of the strap. The fabric is cut the same width and the same length as the fusible interfacing. So in this instance, it's 2 by 36, and in the narrower width, it's 1 1/4 by 36. And just fuse, meeting the wrong side of the fabric and the fusible side of the interfacing, and press together. I'm sure you've used products like this in the past. They just kind of save time, make things accurate. And then after pressing the interfacing to the wrong side, then just fold the fabric along the lengthwise perforations and press so that you have a nice even size. Now, to position the fabric slides, we need just one quick mark. And the mark is the center point. And so I'm meeting end to end, and then with the tip of the iron, or even just finger press that area. So either way, you're going to do a marking. I've used a contrast fabric here to create the fabric slide, and you would again press the ends to the middle, but then do one more pressing. Press the folds to meet each other, and then edge stitch so that you have a narrower strip of fabric. Now, to measure, we're going to use the unpressed width of the strap as a guide. And sometimes it's just easy to do a quick measurement by eyeballing, and you're going to make the slides about a generous 1/4 of an inch longer, just a generous 1/4, 3/8 of an inch if you really want to measure, longer than the width of the unfolded strap. Then flip this over and match right below the press fold, right below that fold, match the cut edge to the cut edge. So this, you'll have to pin this together so that you can see you have a little gap in the slide. On this next sample, I've stitched along the edges, and then you refold it and then press. Press as you did originally. And after you have created a slide on both straps, then top stitch or edge stitch. This sample has been edge stitched along the fold, across the top, and along a fold. Now stack the slides. Now here I have 2 shorter lengths, and you'd stack them together so that the slides are going toward the middle. And you just can guess what's going to happen here. You're going to slide one strap through each slide. And then the fabric, because it's has the little texture to it, will hold right where you would like to have it adjusted. Now you can use your favorite application technique, the favorite way of adding it to your tote or handbag, whether it's with D-rings or O-rings, or that you're just going to attach it directly to the bag. But then, of course, you just saw how it works. It does stick to itself, so that you have an easy way of adding some personality with the Adjust-A-Strap, just created with the fusible interfacing and a little sewing know-how. This next Easy Sew bag features a remake. The original bag's only closure was a snap at the top, yet I often wished it had a more secure closure. Never one to let a little inconvenience get in my way, I decided to add a zipper. What a novel thought. See how combining zipper and ribbon can make the contents of a bag or tote more protected with a little sewing savvy. If you look at this bag, you will see that the snap closure is not the only way of keeping this bag closed. We used ribbon and a traditional dressmaking zipper to create this zip-it closed closure. Now you can add this to any bag that you may like, and I'll show you the way to work with it. Since it's difficult, I think, sometimes to work with heavy-duty zippers to sew through them, I like to use standard dressmaker zippers and showcasing or adding on both sides, framing it with ribbon. Now this ribbon is about, let's see, 3/4 of an inch wide. Sometimes you can use 1/2 inch wide ribbon or even up to 1 inch wide ribbon. If you're working with a zipper by the yard, which I happen to use, I just cut the length that I would like the zipper to be. And sometimes I have it the width of the opening or maybe up to 2 inches wider on each side or longer on each side. Then the ribbon is cut the length of the zipper, and notice that I bar tacked where I'd like the zipper to end, and sandwich it on both sides, and then just straight stitch, creating a frame. Now measure the end of each zipper so that you know how wide to cut the ribbon. And this measures, let's see, it measures 1.5 inches, so I'm going to make this 3 inches plus 1/2 of an inch. So 3.5 inches is the width of each end piece, and then I would place one on each end and top stitch down. Another simple step. Now to make this a finished look, I'd simply meet the short ends together, stitch with 1/4 of an inch, hence that extra 1/2 of an inch that was added. And on this side, I did the stitching, and then we just flip it, and you can top stitch. Now you could just leave it like this, just you need to secure the ribbons together. Another option is to fold the ribbons in a V-point and then do the top stitching. So you're just going to manipulate the ribbon whichever way you'd like the look to be. And here's our finished decorative zipper. Now you can either pin this inside the bag, or you could use double-sided basting tape, and sometimes to save time and security, I place double-sided basting tape inside the bag, just tear it off, and then remove the paper covering. Now you can sew through this, find the center of the zipper, crease it, finger press it, and meet it to the center of the bag, and position. Now again, pins would work just fine as well. One side is positioned, and here's a close-up of stitching the zipper to the inside of the bag. You could follow an existing stitching line, or you could create a new top stitching line. Whatever you do to one side of the zipper, you do to the other. And on this finished bag, when we look inside, you can see that this has just been stitched to the top, and you have a clever closure and a way to customize the bag. A handbag is an ideal palette to feature embroidery. Highlight seasonal embroideries such as this ginkgo design, or consider adding geometric, paisley, or even abstract embroideries. For those of us with computerized embroidery machines, it's easy to get carried away with this Easy Sew bag option. When I embroidered this bag, I wanted to make certain that the embroideries were placed in the corner, at the top corner, the lower corner, and then were mirror imaged exactly on the other side. And to do this, I used stitch outlines to position it. Now, some of you may have used in the past templates, and I like using templates for positioning embroideries, but sometimes if I have to do a mirror image to get things identically shaped, are placed, I don't always get the best results. That's just me, but sometimes you can just place a template on, start stitching at the center of this target, and then you'll get a nice corner position. But for this bag, I'll show you how I created the outlines and the embroidery. First of all, I decided where I'd wanted the corner of my embroidery to be. This bag has a gusset shaping, hence that little cutout section, and I decided I wanted it to be 2 inches from the cut edge so that the embroidery started in this area and it would not interfere with the seam. There'd be a little fabric around the edges so it would be highlighted nicely. So 2 inches in mind, I went to an embroidery that has geometric shapes, and as I mentioned, they're just outlines that you stitch. And I chose 2 stitch outlines. And if you're wondering, what is Nancy talking about? Just give me a little time. I chose that 2-inch outline as an embroidery. These are embroideries. They're not decorative. They're just functional. And I decided to choose this 2-inch square outline. And I placed it on a jump stick or a little drive, whatever you'd place into your computer or sewing machine. I also chose a larger rectangle, and I chose the biggest rectangle I could find. It's this one that's at the top, rectangle number 50, to give me kind of the shape and positioning of my bag itself. These are embroideries, so I placed them on a stick, as I mentioned, a media stick, have it in my computerized embroidery unit, and I'm going to transfer those 2 designs plus the embroidery designs to my machine. Now you could also edit in your computer if you'd like. And here's that largest design, and I'm going to set it and just move this down to the corner a little bit more. Okay, that's to give me approximately the shape of my outer bag. Then I'm going to import the smaller 2-inch square. And this is to serve as the positioning for that gusset area and at the point at which I'd like the embroidery to begin. As I mentioned, I wanted it to start 2 inches from the corner. So I'm lining it up with the proverbial outer edge of the bag, and that upper corner is where I'd like the embroidery to begin. So these are embroideries. Now I'll add the decorative embroidery, and this is what I chose to show you today. It's just one large embroidery for a corner. It's going in the wrong direction, so I'm going to rotate it and rotate it once, and it should come out kind of in the right area, but it's certainly not near that corner of the bag. So using the touch screen, I'll just move this down to the 2-inch mark because that's where I measured and decided in advance that I'd like the embroidery to start. Now I'm ready to do the sewing. Now the sewing or the embroidery is unique in this instance because the first 2 steps, the first 2 colors are outlines. If we look at the screen again, you'll see that it shows that black thread is in there, and the first stitching is the large outline. The second stitching will be the small outline. So I have in my embroidery unit stabilizer, sticky backed stabilizer or water activated stabilizer. This is the water activated type, and I'm going to lower the presser foot, and the first thing that I'm going to sew is the outer edge. So we're going to push the sewing, and it's going to transfer the designs into place. And what it's going to sew first of all is the stitch outline, just black stitching. So this is certainly not the decorative part, it's just for placement. So we'll let this stitch the large outline as well as the small 2-inch block, and when we come back, I'll show you how to position the bag into place. As you can see, both of the first embroidery steps have been sewn on the stabilizer. It allows me now to position with water-activated stabilizer. I already dampened the stabilizer with a sponge. Position the fabric. I did change the thread to the first thread color, and now I can lower the presser foot and start sewing the beautiful design. Now the stabilizer has the positioning tools on it, allowing me to get that design starting exactly 2 inches from the corner. Now here's the finished sample of one of the designs that have been stitched. exactly 2 inches from the corner. Then you can sew the other one by simply mirror imaging the designs, and you'll have perfect placement. Swapping the contents of a bag from one to another with ease was the inspiration for my last Easy Sew bag. Learn how to create the bag within a bag. In other words, to create a switchable bag organizer. Use the dimensions and instructions to customize a switchable bag to fit any of your handbags. Whether you've created one of the bags that I'm making in the series or have some at home where you'd like an organizer, this organizer will fit in a variety of sizes. But it has substance to it. It's not going to fold under the weight of what you have stored inside the bag, whether it's a cell phone, credit cards, money, makeup, keys. It has enough weight to it, yet it's bendable. To make the switchable organizer, we used the shaping that's often used for the base of a tote or a bag as the basis. This is a stitchable plastic stabilizer. We've used this throughout the program, and we just used the full sheet size. It happens to be 5 1/4 by 20 inches. So that was the main pattern size that we're working with. The zipper portion of the organizer, the zipper pocket I should say, you're going to be cutting 2 of these 5 1/4 by 20 inch size. It's just the size of that stabilizer. And I have them out at 2 different colors, and one of them you're going to press under about 1/2 inch of a seam allowance, and the other one you're going to press in half, and you'll see that happening in just a few minutes. But to create the first zipper, here we have a 20-inch long zipper. It has multiple heads, or you can just use a single pull draw zipper, and you overlap the fabric onto the zipper and top stitch. Can't get any simpler than that. You're just top stitching the zipper down. And then that second zipper pocket piece, you're going to press in half. Do a little finger pressing here and place it over the end so that you're matching edge to edge so that you have a double pocket area. This last sample shows that we've stitched right down the center, and you can find the center by folding in half to create one of the first pockets. Set this aside. So now you have the zipper portion. The base is made out of double the width of that stabilizer, and that's 10 1/2 by 20. And you'll find all the dimensions in the reference material that accompanies today's program. And then you can fold this in half, folding in half to press mark, so it equaled the size of that original zipper pocket. And you might guess you're just going to place the zipper pocket, which I had below, on half of the stabilizer. And we've stitched the top of the zipper along the fold. Now here's that stabilizer. We're going to just tuck it underneath the second half. Now you could make double zipper pockets. You could add pleated pockets, which we have in our sample. And that sample size was cut 8 by 30. You could make this any size you'd like. This is just to give you a guideline. And then again, fold this in half. The sample below shows that we created pleats just by making equidistant 3-inch deep pleats or wide pleats with about 1/2 inch gusset in the side. Make these any size you'd like. Really, it's just as a guideline. And we'll fold this down, making the base a little bit more visible to you, and place the pleated section along the edge. And top stitch all these layers. So you have zipper pockets, pleated pockets, and now to do the finishing touches, we're going to fold this in half. So here's our sewn section. Since you can sew right to it, you just fold this in half and zigzag along all of the edges. After you've zigzagged along the edges, then you can use your favorite technique of adding bias tape. You could add a binding technique. You could fold over ribbon as we have here, just to finish the edges. You may want to even add a key fob at the end if you'd like to hold some keys into place. You can see this is bendable in any way that you'd like to create it. So it's just a system of having a base fabric, some interesting pocket shapes and sizes, and you have a switchable organizer. time for the Nancy's Corner segment of our program, and today I'd like to encourage you to become a blanketeer, not a musketeer, but a blanketeer to make blankets for those in need. Christine Popenhagen is one of the 400 coordinators of Project Linus, and she has been with the organization for over 10 years and is here to share with us how all of us who sew, quilt, and perhaps knit or crochet could make blankets for children ages 0 to 18 for those who have been ill, who are traumatized, and what a wonderful service for those of us who sew and quilt, and for your great volunteerism, Christine.
Thank you. Thanks very much, and thanks for having me today.
To tell others about Project Linus, we have to give a little bit of the history because this started in Colorado.
That's right. It started in Colorado in 1995 with one blanket that someone crocheted and took to a child in need, and it's grown to 400 chapters across the country and over 2 million blankets now given away to children.
I think it's 2.6 million, didn't you
Yes,
tell me?
that's right.
That's a phenomenal number of quilts to give away. Now the sizes that we can make of these quilts, they're kind of specific.
They are. They can range in size from about 36 by 36 all the way up to twin size. But our favorite size, the one we use the most, is about 40 or 45 by 60, typical crib size batting. But in order that you get the size that your chapter would need in your part of the country, you need to go to their website or contact their coordinator and find out what sizes they prefer, because they may have special needs for special children.
And I went to the website and printed out the pages for projectlinus.org, and for each state there's a link.
Yes.
And then you can, if you live, whatever state you live in, you can go to that link and find out the coordinator and then the needs that are there. There's some criteria, and these blankets have to be kid-friendly colors.
That's right.
Homemade.
Yes.
And they can be knitted, they can be crocheted, hand-tied, they can be machine quilted, appliqued, embroidered, serged.
That's right. Fleece, flannel, they can be most anything. They do have to be made of all new materials because of hospital regulations.
Yes.
They have to be made in a smoke-free environment and stored in a smoke-free environment. And they need to be washable because a lot of these blankets are washed many, many times.
And you, every month, donate blankets as the coordinator in your area.
Yes, we do. We donate in our area about 400 blankets every month. And most of our blankets go to hospitalized children, but across the country there are different needs. And so they may go to many other places. And some blankets are given to the children of deployed of military people.
Certainly. The blanket that you're holding, Christine, you have a little label that goes on the blanket.
That's right.
It says Project Linus and gives the organization who may have made it, but then tells where where it came from, and it's really a wonderful thing. This is a blanket that's made for a neonatal intensive care unit.
Yes, it is. In Madison, Wisconsin, where we are, we have 2 newborn intensive care units in town, and we supply them with these blankets. And people might think that these blankets need to be tiny, but in fact, these are about 45 by 45 to cover the isolettes to keep the babies warm.
Certainly.
So that's why you need to check with your local chapter to see what sizes are best for them.
You told me a very interesting story about the creator of the blanket with the appliqued frogs, and I think it's worthy to tell our audience about this because of the interest that this has. It's interesting appliques, but there are 2 gifts here.
Yes, there are. The person who made this blanket has made us 256 blankets in 1 year, the past year, 256. And she is wheelchair bound, and she recruits other people from her community to help her with this. And so some of them may cut out the shapes, or they may do other parts of the job. So it's really amazing. She's an amazing woman.
So not only is the gift to the recipient of this, the child who needs it, but also for this woman, giving her a lot of purpose and to use her sewing and quilting skills.
That's right. And all of us find that we get much more out of this than we give. And I think that's often true when people volunteer. You expect you're going to give something to people, but in fact they give to you.
That's right. Well, our encouragement is that you work with your local Project Linus area. Again, go to projectlinus.org. and you will find the sheets that you can print out to be a blanketeer, and you'll find all the criteria that's listed there. Go to your state, click on it so that you know who to contact, and then remember those blanket sizes are about 45 by 60, the most popular size, and it has to be of new fabric, smoke-free environment, and kid-friendly colors. I encourage each of you to make something for someone you don't know this year and give it away. The gift will be in the giving. Well, Christine, thank you so much for being our guest on Nancy's Corner.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it.
And congratulations on all of your successes, and continue great successes and work. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
Nancy has written a fully illustrated book entitled 12 Easy Sew Bags, which includes all the information from this 3-part series. It's $14.99 plus shipping and handling. To order the book, call 800-336-8373 or visit our website at sewingwithnancy.com/2301. Order item number BK2301, 12 Easy Sew Bags, credit card orders only. To pay by check or money order, call for details. Visit Nancy's website at sewingwithnancy.com for more information on this program. Sewing with Nancy, TV's longest-airing sewing and quilting program with Nancy Zieman, is made possible by Baby Lock, Madeira Threads, Koala Cabinets, Clover, Amazing Designs, and Classe Needles. Closed captioning funding provided by Rowenta. Sewing with Nancy is a co-production of Nancy Zieman